guys, we are back for another Dokkan battle video. So I'm finally getting to this video, definitely a little bit late, and even since Janemba has gotten his 200% leader skill, he certainly doesn't feel quite as good. Now, one thing to remember with a statement like that, right, in that Janemba doesn't feel quite as good since he got his 200% leader skill, remember that was, you know, many months ago at this point, right? Like, I'm recording this in May of 2023, and Janemba got that 200% leader skill of his in, what was it? It was August of 2022, right? LR Janemba became a character that was able to have a 200% leader skill. When it comes to how characters could get power creeped or just not feel as strong, it'll come in two ways. One is event power creep, which we definitely have had a little bit, although the cooler team, which is of course where Janemba is getting his 200%, he does perform pretty effectively. I mean, you could still do really good in the 8th anniversary Sin Shenron event with that. But what it is more characters will come out that are either just like outright stronger or designed better or don't have as many flaws, and it's just like this character like Janemba will just feel weaker in contrast, right? I don't know, maybe take a character like the AGL Carnival LR Goku. I mean, there's a big difference, right? One is just a Goku and the other is a you know, a Janemba character. Like, it doesn't really matter who's better between them so much because they have no overlap whatsoever on any team, right? One is a super AGL character, the other is an extreme physical character. But, like, he's a good example of a more modern, like, version of kind of what they're going for with LR Janemba. I think LR Janemba has, for the most part, he's just been one of these divisive characters, like, you know, Tech Gohan. I mean, the thing about STR Cooler is people weren't like Tech Gohan. The problem with him is that there was dumbasses who said he wasn't that good since day one, right? Just fools, clowns is what we can call them. STR Cooler, though, that not the LR, but we're talking this guy. I never saw anyone doubt how good this guy was when he first came out or when he got his EZA. I wasn't really seeing downplay for this guy, right? Like, you know, legitimate criticism, sure, but not necessarily the same level of downplay I saw for like Tech Gohan or LR Janemba. I've seen a lot of disrespect for this character, and he is pretty good. Now, he definitely does contrast a little bit with how this Cooler team can be set up, because you have Final Form Cooler, who's, you know, you could still call him one of the best units in the game. He hasn't fallen off that much, right? He's still really, really good. LR Final Form Cooler. He's not really the craziest turn one. Like, you know, he needs, like, a character to kind of sit in front of him and tank, and then Cooler can carry with all the damage, right? So he needs to build up. Easy ATUR Cooler is not a slot 1 character, like, virtually ever, unless you have, like, really good luck. There's minimal attacks there, no super attacks, things like that, right? He's mainly here for support. Metal Cooler needs to build up. So you do have a lot of characters that need to build up on this team. And Janemba's build-up is a bit tricky, right? Janemba builds up by attacking in slot 2 or 3, right? And what Janemba does is he gets the 2 key up to 6, and the 22% attack and defense up to 66%. So he has to do 3 attacks in slot 2 or 3, and he's fully built up. This guy is still really nasty, fully built up. But the problem is, you know, typically you're going to have to do it in, like, slot 2. Janemba guards in slot 1 or 2, but he does not guard in slot 3, which means when you run this character, the rotation he's on, you're probably stuck with. You're not really going to be able to float him off. And certainly depending upon the way your team is, you know, just the way the game gives you your opening rotation, you could get cucked by trying to build up Janemba and putting Cooler in slot 1, and then you could be in big trouble. Right, so, like, there certainly are flaws for Janemba, right? No doubt about that. But between how strong he is defensively, right, which he is still very strong defensively, and how good Cooler is offensively, they're a match made in heaven. Oh, by the way, they also link up perfectly, right? So LR Janemba's link set here: Big Bad Bosses, Shocking Speed, Metamorphosis, Brutal Beatdown, Fear and Faith, Fierce Battle, Legendary Power. Super Janemba characters have just a disgusting... like, this is a tremendous villain link set, Janemba, right? So, the fact that he has Metamorphosis and Big Bad Bosses with Cooler, those 2 links, that's 35% attack and defense and 5% HP regen. And then they're also going to have Fierce Battle for 20% attack and Legendary Power, which is 15% attack. So it just gets very silly exactly how powerful Janemba can be. This is kind of unfortunate. Ah, man, Cooler is going to get slapped up right here. Okay. I want to keep that Cooler on rotation. That's not really... This turn played out in a way where it's not like, oh my god, like, you know, Janemba's hurting us so bad because I need to run him in slot 2. It's just we didn't have enough key for Cooler right there. Okay, so we'll go and grab this. So Janemba, a lot of times when using Janemba 2, especially because Final Form Cooler is so dominant defensively, I don't really see much reason or incentive to really, like, even selling out to give him a ton of key and stuff like that. LR Janemba is usually fulfilling his role just by not taking a ton of damage. And this is why... Oh, what are his equips, actually? Oh, he has a defensive... like a raw defensive equip. Okay. I mean, I could maybe even give him a level 6 defensive equip now, which did not exist back when this guy came out in July of 2021. Now, I would like to remind people again, I don't want to go too much talking about dodge. Dodge is very obviously... I mean, if you have even a modicum of sense, like, you're going to know that dodge is what you want to do for this character. His role is to be a defensive tool for the Cooler team, right? I would like to remind people, I think this was one of the first major characters I went full dodge, and people were saying things like, you don't even deserve the unit, right? Like, people just have no clue what they're talking about when it comes to dodge. I had to get that out there. All right, let's go. All right, so we have a really strong rotation for Janemba here. The only links not activated here are Shocking Speed, which is only key and defense, and Fear and Faith, which is just only key. So, I mean, we essentially have everything Janemba wants. Of course, remember, he does have to build up. Now, I talked a lot about Janemba already. I wanted to, you know, get moving. I'm blabbering away, blah, 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 right? Like, we got to get going. All right, so here's Janemba's first attack. Remember, he has to do 3 in slot 2 or 3 to fully build up. No hidden potential system, not a big deal, though. All right, here's the super attack, and we dodge it. Awesome. That's great. That's great. Janemba wouldn't have really taken any damage at all there, but Cell would have hit us with an attack debuff, remember? So we completely ignored the attack debuff that Cell could hit us with because of the fact that we dodged the super attack. I do love that, though. Like, you know, 2 seconds after I declare, a lot of people still don't know what they're talking about with dodge, and then we dodge super attack. Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. Feels good. All of my cursed RNG with, like, the Dragon Ball Hero team, it comes back to reward me when it's time for LR Janemba to get some dodges in. Then we have this fraud. Okay, thank you for the orbs. Lovely. Alright, great. Fantastic. I'd like to finish Cell off right here, because if we get Cell to a sliver of HP, then LR Janemba's flaws can be very glaring on this next turn, right? Which is, you know, if we'd have a character in slot 1, then finish Cell off, and Janemba doesn't even have an opportunity to attack in the second slot and build up, right? Like, there, again, I'm not going to sit here and pretend like LR Janemba's perfect or anything like that. And, you know, we have so much age on this character. Janemba is actually closing in on 2 years old, and he's still viable. Janemba has to be one of the best aging characters ever, I would say, LR Janemba. I would argue that he's aging very gracefully. And he'll still probably be useful for a little bit longer. I definitely think, like, the biggest bosses, of course, can touch Janemba, even if Janemba is fully built up. But you guys get the point, right? Okay. So yeah, again, here's where, you know, we could talk about Janemba's flaws. Although I can't super attack again. The one thing this team really could use is an orb changer, man, which it does not have. I mean, it's like you use, like, some of these Kid Goku and Bulma teams, and you can feel it, right? Like, you can. We have LR Bojack, but the problem is that LR Bojack is doing that with Space Traveling Warriors, which the game moronically decided Golden Freeze is not Space Traveling Warrior. The game moronically decided that Metal Cooler is also not a Space Traveling Warrior. So half our team is not even Space Traveling Warriors here. So it's like, I don't even really... I feel like if Bojack just created Rainbow Orbs, I would probably like that character a lot better. Alright, so let's do this. Cooler probably not going to get a super attack in. That's fine. What's Janemba's defense here? 353 he's up to. So, I mean, you guys could see that Janemba, he can put up some pretty good defensive stats. Now, there is a couple of other things about Janemba's kit that I have not talked about yet. Yeah, see, here's where Janemba in slot 1 would help us out way better than this cooler, right? 290 right there. And you could directly attribute that to the way Janemba is set up, where we want to attack with him in slot 2 and 3, right? If Janemba did not have to build up from attacking in slot 2 or 3, we could have put him in slot 1, and then, you know, he could have been, you know, building up, and then he also could have taken that damage that cooler wouldn't have had to take, right? Like, that's definitely a legitimate criticism for Janemba. Now, one incredible weakness for LR Janemba, he actually does not have super attack effects, believe it or not. He does lower enemy defense, but like that does not count. That is not a super attack effect, right? So let's take a look at this, right? It's crazy to think about, but again, he is 2 years old. His 12 key, he's only regularly lowering defense, and then his 18 key, he's greatly lowering enemy defense. But no defense, no attack, no abilities like that. It's just really crazy. Another thing Janemba does have is, remember, he does have Ki Blast nullification. Janemba has a high chance to nullify Ki Blast super attacks, which of course can be very good, right? Ki Blast supers are certainly of like kind of like the type, like the type of super attacks you could see. Ki Blast is definitely the most common among all of them. I guess Undefined is pretty common among a lot of huge bosses, but you guys get what I'm saying there. Okay, we probably should not rock Cooler in slot 1. Although, I am really tempted to do so. This is perfect, because if we get juiced right here, people could just use that to say, see, Janemba sucks, right? But if we don't, like, we're cool. We're cool in here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and give this to Janemba. And then Fat Janemba will be able to get his support as well. So we're up to 416k defense right here. Janemba still needs to do one attack. Remember, he is guarding. If you're going to give him the full dodge build, you know, he's definitely going to be cooking a lot more defensively, right? So he's got the Ki Blast nullification, the guard. He's got a lot to him. I like LR Janemba still. Very decent unit. Now, the last thing we have to talk about is he does have a Rage Mode transformation. I mean, it's I guess sort of similar to like one of these like giant form type transformations, right? Like, you know, Orange Piccolo and stuff. But Janemba's only lasts for 1 turn, right? So because of the fact that Janemba's only lasts for 1 turn, I don't think it really is quite the same as LR Piccolo, like Orange Piccolo's, you know, like giant transformation and stuff like that. What I mean by that is I don't think you're not guaranteed to like prevent the enemy from doing their special attacks, I think, just by Janemba's Rage Mode and stuff like that. Because I believe the way it works with giant transformations, Rage transformation, stuff like that, canceling the boss special techniques, so their super attacks, you know, Sin's AoE attacks, stuff like that. I believe it's because the giant transformation technically is not taking turns. It's still the same turn, technically, right? So because of that, the boss is basically, like, blowing their load. Like, you know, the super attack that the boss is doing on that turn, he did technically do, but it was against the giant form. So when you leave the giant or rage transformation, you know, it's still the same turn, technically, and, you know, the boss has already done their special attacks, right? Like, they can't, like, it's not like Sin, you're not going against 8th Anniversary Sin Shenron, and he could do, you know, 10 AoE normals, right? Like, he's scripted that he could do up to 3 at max. So, when he does 3 AoEs against, you know, Janemba's Rage Mode or Orange Piccolo's Orange Piccolo form, that's it. He's using his abilities. His abilities are used up. So, that's where these can come in handy. And Janemba's got that, but again, I've encountered issues. Oh, cooler. Okay. I've had issues before, I think, where Janemba is not canceled, and I think it's because, like, the boss might just, because Janemba's only lasts for 1 turn, the boss might just, like, not super attack on that turn during the giant form, and then I think it does not cancel it. Like, that effect does not actually hit, right? I believe that's sort of the way that does play out. Alright, so we have a very decent rotation right here. We can use Janemba's active and his Rage Mode. I guess we might as well. So we are fully built up with Janemba in terms of his passive and stuff like that. let's go ahead and use Janemba's Rage Mode, and I guess let's keep an eye afterwards, right? Is Cell going to be able to super attack even though we used our Rage Mode? By the way, Janemba's Rage Mode here, we can do this when HP is 66% or more starting from the 6th turn. It's honestly a pretty crappy condition. I think that's really like dog shit. It's trash, I would say. Turn 6, 66% HP. Because, like, by turn 6, you know, you're going up against the biggest bosses. And it's like, you know, 8th Anniversary Sin is not like, oh, please, take your time. Like, you know, yeah, I'll wait. I'm not going to do 80 supers, stuff like that. I'll let you, you know, get to that turn at full health, right? It's not really that simple. The thing with HP restrictions in general is that there's no consistency. Sometimes you'll have it, sometimes you won't, right? Alright, well, unfortunately, Janemba doesn't really have the craziest, voice, like, lines and stuff like that, huh? Yeah, one thing I really enjoy about Dokkan these days, is, you know, a lot, like, you know, the intros, you'll get, like, the nice OST playing with the good, like, voice acting and stuff like that, and, you know, Janemba is one of these characters who doesn't really have that. Now, Janemba's transformation here, he does actually have super attack effects. He has a high chance to crit. So each Janemba, like there's 3 Janembas, right? 1, 2, 3. Each Janemba has a 50% chance to crit from their super attack effect. If you get an additional super, it would become a guaranteed crit. But it's only the exact slot, right? So, like, the slot 1 Janemba would have to double super for it to be a guaranteed crit. The way it works, it's not effective. It's not like slot 1 Janemba double supers and then it's guaranteed crits the rest of the turn, right? It's for each individual Janemba. All right, so we did that. Yeah, Cell is healing, right? Am I crazy? Or with one of these giant transformations, wouldn't that prevent Cell from healing? I think in order for, like, sort of like the... I don't know what to call it, exploit, I guess, or a tech that these characters can have, it does need to be a multiple turn giant transformation is what it does seem like to me, right? Alright, so we have just a brutal turn right here for Janemba. Very, very strong, right? Fully built up. We don't have full key right here. I believe we are still debuffed from second form Cell super attack. We do have to keep that in mind, but we should still be able to see some pretty good damage by LR Janemba here. I mean, at this point, we've pretty much seen what LR Janemba has to offer, right? Like, you know, getting to, like, that 500k defense with guard is still very effective, even against some of the toughest bosses in the game. Yeah, okay, there's super attack, yeah. So, it's just like I was saying, that effect, it doesn't seem to work the same way when it's only a 1 turn. So the fact that Janemba's Rage Mode only lasts for 1 turn, like he's not just auto-canceling the big boss's abilities the same way Orange Piccolo would, or Piccolo Jr.'s transformation would, all those types of characters. For however it's triggered, it does seem to take multiple turns, right? Which makes Orange Piccolo still the best, because you could, you know, he's an active skill, you could use at will, last multiple turns. It just really can be very, very devastating. I might just get maybe one more rotation right here. Like I'm pretty content, right? Like I've explained sort of like how Janemba is and stuff like that, like all of his abilities and blah blah blah. I feel pretty good. I mean, this was a look at what LR Janemba looks like, right? We could, you know, pair him with a lot of the strong options on this team. Oh, wow. We're going to get coolers for 5. Metal Cooler, are you doing okay? You should not have died there.
お前が死に物狂いで俺を倒したところで俺は何度でも蘇るのださらに強くなってなつまりお前は永遠に俺を倒せない
Alright, so here is the thing. Metal Cooler, bruh. Okay, whatever. Let me not be too much of a hater, but Metal Cooler. You know, I'm just saying, maybe you could have done a little bit better there, buddy. I know he revived for us and stuff, right? Like, cool, yeah. But, Metal Cooler, come on there. Okay, I mean, he did his job, right? He revived. If anything, we got to add the kick-ass animation. LR Metal Cooler, again, I would consider his revive animation probably one of my favorite animations in the game. Again, because like I said, I really love the voice acting and stuff like that. And kind of like that, like, cocky, like, you know, shit that Cooler is talking right there. Like, you know, like, yeah, dude, like, it's good, it's good. I do like that. Okay, all right, Golden Frieza, Triple Super, sure. All right, let's see what LR Janemba will give us in terms of this attack set, and then we'll finish up. So let me know what you guys think of LR Janemba. Again, I still think he's a pretty decent character. I mean, I don't want to go too, oh, he's one of the best LRs in the game. Nothing crazy like that. I think that at this point, Janemba is aging pretty favorably, is probably how I would describe it. I think the aging process has been pretty kind to Janemba. You guys know how it works. Defensive-oriented units will always age better than offensive-oriented units. It's literally been like this forever, and it's always going to be that way, right? So remember, when you know, characters' kits are coming out and stuff like that, you know, it's not. I've seen people say, like, oh, I hate how characters have to have guard and stuff like that to be good these days. But, like, bro, it's always been, like, characters that have those abilities have always been the best. Guard and stuff like that, they've always been busted, right? I mean, think about the first anniversary. 2 mechanics were introduced. Gogeta was super effective against all types, and Janemba introduced the guard ability, right? Well, remember, you are technically guarding if you get hit from type disadvantage anyway, right? But, like, a character that just guards against everything, right? Janemba's the one that introduced that into the game. So, makes sense that LR Janemba's guarding, and he's, you know, doing very well with it. So, let me know what you guys think of LR Janemba on the 200%. Thanks, guys, for watching, and I will catch y'all next time.